Hi everyone, welcome to Design Pattern series, and as a part of this tutorial we will be covering prototype design pattern. So initially we will be discussing about the introduction of prototype design pattern, and then we will switch to implementation of prototype design pattern with example. So let's get started with introduction now. The prototype design pattern is part of creational design pattern, and this creational design pattern is deals with how object is being created in application. So likewise, prototype design pattern is also dealing with the object creation with different way, right? We have multiple parts of creational design pattern which is dealing with object creation, but all of these parts will have different implementation of object creation. So the second one is it required when object creation is complex, time consuming and costly operation. So what it mean? Let's say when you're sending multiple requests to application, and what application does internally, it will validate your request first and verify whether you are the authorized person to hit the application or to hit the database or not. If yes, then it will send request to database and filter out the data based on your request query. And then it will gather the data and frame the response based on that data and send it back to you, right? So as you can see, it's a long process which is happening internally in the application, and hitting the database on each request is a costly operation. So this prototype design pattern will eliminate the database call on each request. It will hit the database only once, and for the same upcoming request, it will copy the data from existing cache and make it object ready for you, right? So based on that, it will increase the performance of application and reduce the cost of object creation. So the third one is it allows us to hide the complexity of making new object. So in any of the application, how object is being created, that implementation is hidden from client. So client just need to inject what type of object they want to create, and internally prototype design pattern implementation will be taking care of whether object needs to be created from scratch or it needs to be copied from any cache. So the fourth one is the concept of prototype design pattern is to copy of an existing object rather than creating a new instance from scratch. So for that implementation, we have one of the best way to copy object from existing object by using clone method, and we can avoid hitting the database call on each request, and which will increase the performance of our application and also reduce the cost of object creation operation, right, which we already discussed in the point 2. And copy of an existing object we can achieve by using two type of cloning. One is deep copy and another one is shallow copy. So these both types we will be discussing while discussing the implementation of prototype design pattern. So this is all about the introduction of this pattern. Now let's switch to the implementation of a prototype design pattern. So for that, I have already created a client class with name browser, and you can assume this browser class will behave like a normal browser. So what activity we can do on browser? We can search for anything, we can open any website from browser. So you can see I'm able to access the Azure website from browser, and at the same time I'm able to access Flipkart also, right? So we can open multiple websites from the browser. So we will be trying to perform the same thing from this client class called browser. We'll be trying to log in into multiple websites from this class. So I have created a few of the classes, one of the Flipkart website, Myntra website, Amazon website, and these websites are extending one of the abstract class called website, which has two property, username and website name, right? So username who is trying to log in into that website, and website name is which type of website you are trying to access, whether it's Flipkart, Myntra or Amazon, right? Now let's go to browser and let's create the object of any website. So website is Flipkart, right? New Flipkart website. So this Flipkart website has one constructor, to our constructor, where we have to pass a website name and username, right? So let's go back and let's pass website name, which is Flipkart, and username is Vineet, who is trying to access this website. Now let's print the reference of this Flipkart. Now you can see I'm able to access this website. Hello Vineet, welcome to Flipkart, right? So at the same time, if you want to log in into another website, as we have done from the UI, so here Myntra website, and instead of passing Flipkart, we have to pass Myntra, and same time Vineet is trying to log in into this website, Myntra. Now let's run this again. You'll be able to see Vineet is able to access two websites at the same time. So this is kind of two tabs, right, which we have done here. Now so as we discussed in the introduction of a prototype design pattern, that the concept of prototype design pattern is to copy of an existing object rather than the creating a new instance from scratch. So first time we will be creating object manually, and when we need the same object again in our application, so we will be cloning it. We'll be copying the object from the existing object, right? So that we can achieve by using clone method. So if you look into this website, I have already implemented clonable marker interface and overrided this clone method, which is the part of object itself. Now let's clone this. Now it will return object. This clone method will return object type of reference. So what I'm doing, I'm keeping it in website and Flipkart cloned. So you can see this is throwing exception of clone not supported exception. So let's throw it to JVM, and now let's cast it to website, right? Now let's print this out, Flipkart clone. Now this Flipkart and Flipkart clone will have the same value, right? Because we are cloning, we are creating a copy from the existing object. See, hi Vineet, welcome to Flipkart. These both values, username and website name is same, right? We are copying the object from the existing object. This is the new object, so we have created this from the existing object, which is Flipkart type, right? So as you can see, the output of both of the references are equal, and that is just because of this Flipkart.clone. So internally it has done shallow copy, right? So when we have created the object of Flipkart website, so it has created single object in the memory, right? And this reference will start pointing to that object. And when we have done a Flipkart.clone, so it has copied the existing object and created another reference. So this reference is start pointing to the same object in the memory, right? And after printing this, we are getting the same values, right? Now the thing is, when you change the value using Flipkart reference, it got changed for Flipkart cloned also. So let's look into that also. Flipkart dot set username, I'm passing to Puneet. Now let's run this and verify. For this Flipkart output, it will have the same hello Vineet, welcome to Flipkart, but for cloned method, for the Flipkart cloned reference, the value will change. This user will change to Puneet, and the Flipkart website name will be the same. Let's run this. See, so user, we have two user now, both are accessing the same website, but the user got changed. Means by using older reference, we are changing the value into the cloned reference. So that is just because of these both references are pointing to the same object in the memory, and by default this shallow copy is implemented on the clone method. So now we have to done the another changes. We had done some changes to implement the deep copy so that each of the reference will have their own object in the memory, right? So to implement the deep copy in the prototype design pattern, I have created one browser cache class. So in this class, we have one static map and one Noah constructor, which is calling one private method internally. So what this private method does actually, it is creating the instance of multiple websites and with its name and the user who is going to access these websites, right? And all these instance of these websites I have added into this website cache, which is this static map, right? And in this map, the key is website name and value is the reference or the object of these websites, right? Now we have one public method which is exposed to client. They will be calling this get website method. Along with this method, they need to pass website name, which website they want to access. So which internally this website name we will be using to get the data from existing map, and we will clone it, because when client is requesting for any object, we won't be creating a new object. We already have these objects in the cache. So when the next call is when client is doing next call, so we will be cloning the existing objects and sending it back to client, right? So I would like to present something which will give you better clarity on what we are doing in this code, right? This browser cache. So let's switch to browser. So we have this browser, right? A geo browser. Sorry, we have this browser and we have opened this Ageo, Flipkart, and you can see I'm already logged into this Flipkart website. See, I'm getting my name here. So when I open Myntra also, right? So here also I'm already logged in. Okay, I'm not logged in here. So let's open Amazon, right? So you can see here, hello Vineet, account detail and list and all, right? So it means I'm already logged in this website, right? When I close this website, session of this website or the data, whatever there in this browser cache will not be deleted, right? It will be there in this browser cache. So when I re-log in into this website, it will not hit the database. Okay, it will check the browser cache first, whether this type of user is already there or not. If it is not there, then it will hit the database and get the detail of that user. But if the user is already there in the cache, it will get it from there. It will clone the data from there and use the same credential to log in into this. That's why I'm getting direct dashboard. So let's check again. I'm logging into Amazon. I'm just doing www.amazon.in. I'm entering. See, I'm landing on this dashboard page where I'm able to see my details, right? So that is just because of my login credential is stored in this browser cache. So likewise, we use this browser cache to store the some kind of information of object, right? Now if someone wants to use the objects, so they will call this method get website, which is exposed to client. Others are not exposed. You can see just constructor and this website, this get website method is exposed to client. So other things, these a map and this private method is used to maintain the cache. Now let's switch to browser and let's delete this basically, or let's comment this out. Now let's call browser cache first. So when anyone is using browser, so they will loading the cache. Cache is equal to new browser cache. So whenever we are creating object of browser cache, it will call Noah constructor internally, and Noah constructor will load store cache and it will initialize these caches and will add into this map. All right, now we have all the data loaded into this map, which is static. Okay, now using this cache reference, we're gonna call get website. See, only get website is the only method which is exposed to this client, so there is no any other method which client can access. Now here we have to pass website name, which website you want to access. So I'm trying to access Amazon. All right, no need to pass anything, and it will return me the reference. So I'm keeping that reference into this abstract class, which is website, and which is the parent of these all Myntra, Flipkart and Amazon website class. Now you can see we have reference, and I'm printing this reference website. Now let's run this again. See, hello Vineet, welcome to Amazon, right? Now if you want to change the value of object by using website reference, so you'll be able to do it only for this reference. For the similar reference you won't be able to do this. So let me do this, website dot set username. I'm changing it to Puneet, right? Now if I'm printing it here, you will be able to see website. You'll be able to see user got changed from Vineet to Puneet. See, but when I'm trying to access the same object from the cache, so in cache still we have the same user, the older user, right? This one. So this, the updation which we have done here for this reference, it is not impacting to another reference, right? Because each of the reference is holding its own object internally in the memory. Now let's run this. You can see this. We have changed the username for Amazon website, right? We have changed from Vineet to Puneet, and we have printed. So we got user Puneet, right, for the same Amazon website. But when we have again called, when we have copy or cloned the object from browser cache, right? So there is no any impact on this, because each of the references holding its own object internally in the memory. So that's why we have user whatever we have added while adding the cache into memory. So that's it from this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching.